Hi everyone, I'm Angela and welcome to Crafting with Angela. Today we are making a hidden paper clip using scrap papers. Here's a prototype that I have made. You can see it's 3 different papers layered up. I've stuck a bit of lace or fabric along the bottom, and the paper clip is hidden on the inside. So if I just show you on this book, you can either put it on your journal at the top or at the side, and either way it works as a bookmark or a tuck spot, so if you wanted to tuck something in the side. So this is what we're going to be making today. So we're going to make a couple of different versions of them. What we will need is paper clips. So I have 2 different paper clips here. Just whatever you have in your stash works. I have a long, that's a 50mm paper clip, or just the normal ones. These are a strange shape, but they are just the normal size. The important part you want is you don't want them to have lips that stick up, because if the lips stick up, then they're going to stick out on the paper. So we want paper clips, and then we want some paper scraps. So we're going to start with this one. So here, first of all, we have some scraps of card that I have from my stash. Also cut out a flower for an embellishment, and all I've done, the sizes for these do not matter, and the reason I'm saying that is because you could make these everything from sort of ½ an inch thick all the way up to as wide as you wanted. So this one, when I cut it, is about 2 inches overall, and then I came in, there's a ½ inch gap down the side here, and I left more space when we got to the pattern papers. So for this one, what I have done, I'll tell you the sizes for this one, although it doesn't matter. So I've started with 2 inches width, and I have cut it to 8 1/4 length. Okay, so that's the first piece. Then I've cut all these pieces to the same 8 1/4 length. The next piece I have coming in is 1 inch wide, and then the last piece is ½ an inch wide. So just coming down in size as we go. What we want to do first of all is, with a bone folder, we are just going to fold all of these pieces in half. So if I come in here and I line the edges up like this, just want to make sure we're keeping the edges as straight as possible. And that gives us the neatest look. And then we just want to come in, just making sure I'm on screen here, come in and fold it in half, give a nice neat fold. And do that with all 3. Now these are quite thin papers. This is a thicker card. It may not work as well, just because I find the thicker the card, the more likely it is to have issues along the edges. Oh. Okay, and let me just fold this last piece over. This is a really simple process. Okay, and basically what we do is we glue this smaller piece on top of the bigger piece. We then stick the paper clip on here. We'll go for a smaller one if I can find a smaller one in here. You stick the paper clip on here, doesn't matter which way around, and then we glue this on top. And what that does is, when you actually get to when it's all glued together, the actual paper clip itself is hidden. Okay, now one thing I did want to say is this paper that I have for the main part is only one-sided. I'm fine with that this time, but for later on I will show you what you can do if you don't like the white paper on it. So first of all, I'm going to come in. I don't think I'm going to ink up the edges for this one. I don't think it needs it. So I'm just going to come in with my glue. If I can get my glue to work. Get a pin to clean this out and see if it's... Hopefully that's going to get some glue out this time. No. Okay. Let's see if I have different glue that we could use. Okay, so I'm going to come in with glue. Let me just get this. Just using a small glue puddle here to make sure that this is a nice thin layer over this. My fine tip bottle is not working as well as I'd hoped, so this is the best way I find to make sure we haven't put far too much glue on. Okay, I'm just going to take this and align it up with the halfway point. Make sure it's fairly lined up evenly this way, and then we're just going to fold it down like that. Okay, just check on both sides. That's perfect. Going to put this is going to be the front. That's only because this is the crown's looking more like we would expect. I'll put that one nice and neatly in there. Okay, I am going to open this piece up and do exactly the same as I did to the other piece, which is put a layer of glue along this. And I'm going to do exactly the same because I'm using a thicker bottle. I'm just going to come in with my wee glue spatula. Always reminds me of doing crafts in school when you have to use these glue guns, but these glue brushes, but it does work. And it's really, I think it's really important on this that we also come in over here and put a glue around where the paper clip is on both sides before we glue it onto it, just to make sure the paper clip's being held in the right spot. Oops. Doing that way. Come in like this. We're lining it up. You want to make sure you're relatively even. The paper clip always makes things a bit more awkward to line up. Let's see, the paper clip's moved already. There we go. There's that piece. Then I'm just going to turn it over and fold it down here. Just coming in with my bone folder to make sure it's folding down nice and neatly. And this is the fast grab glue, so it will not take long to stick down at all. And then that is basically this finish. I did have a purple flower that I'm going to stick on top, but what I actually thought would be really nice for this is just to give it a bit more pattern. Instead of putting the lace along the bottom like I did here, is to come in and cut this into a flag shape. So this will be hard work because you're cutting through multiple layers of card at the same time. You could do it before you glued it down if you wanted to, but this way I don't need to worry about either end not looking the same. There's always a bit that doesn't quite want to work. So there we go, cut them off. I will come in and tidy those ends up just to make it look that bit neater, but we have got now a really nice flag option there. Okay, I'm just going to just don't like the way that point is sitting at the front. Okay, just cutting that off. And then I'm just going to come in and stick this down. Just going to stick it onto the middle there. Don't think we need to worry about it too much. And this is just paper onto paper, so I'm just going to use my glue stick because there's no weight behind this whatsoever. There we go. Next I have got these. This is actually a double-sided paper. And I like when you have double-sided papers, what I like is that means it tends to go together. So for these ones, I'll just give you the measurements. This is, I've cut them all to 5 inches long, and then they are 2 inches wide and 1 3/4 wide. I have cut one of these circles out with a 1.5 inch circle die, and then I just also have a piece of ribbon here that I just felt went really well with the pattern. We're going to use that to finish it off. So we'll put these to the side. We're going to do exactly the same with these as we have with the other ones. So the first thing to do is to fold them. Now the previous one I just folded them in half. Because we know this is 5 inches, I'm just going to come in with my bone folder. Oh. I can never get the folder out of them. So because these are that bit thicker card, I want to make sure that we're folding them right. So this is 5 inches, so I'm going to come in and score down at 2.5 inch here, and then turn it over, making sure we're folding the right way, and come in at 2.5 on this side. And that just means we have a nice folded edge. Okay, so it's not as important to do if you are using your thinner card, but when you're working with thicker card, I think it's really important to fold it. It just helps make everything right. Okay, so just going to come in here, line the ends up, and make sure we've got a nice neat line there. Okay, that's going to fit nicely on there like that. Might have to trim down the edges here. Despite the fact I measured everything right, it never quite works when we do it this way, but here we go. So that's what it's going to look like. What I am going to do is I was thinking about rounding the edges, but if I need to trim it down I may not. So what we'll do is we will just come in and stick again. For this one I think I'll use the bigger paper clip, if I can get them unwrapped from each other. Okay, so bigger paper clip into the middle. You just want that to sort of sit as straight as you can. I'm going to come in again with the fast grab tacky glue. It's not as wide a piece of card, so it doesn't bother me as much this time. When you have the very thin cards, I think it's really important to make sure you don't have it smidging over the edge when you try to squeeze them together. So, okay, and then I'm going to come in here and just put a bit. It's not overly important that the paper clip doesn't move. I want the piece with the 4 on the front. Okay, so we line this up first of all like this. Check, see what it's like on the back. What I did here is pushing down on both sides with my bone folder to try and make sure we're getting a nice tight seal. Try to overdo the same on this side. Okay. Of course, now that I've stuck that down, it has gone on even. That's fast grab glue, so well, we might be able to, we are just about able to pull it up. So let's see if I can make this a bit more even on this side. Okay, there we go. And push down like that to make sure we get a nice, neat bolt. Okay, and then the last thing I want to do, or to decorate this, so that's the book that's the paper clip made. Okay, we can see the paper clip's hidden on the inside. To decorate it, I'm going to come in with my piece of ribbon that I'm just going to run like that over the top. I'll let it hang down loose on either side. I am not as worried about this going the whole way to the edge. I'm just going to run a bit down the middle. Okay, like that. It's probably going along further than we needed, but that's okay. Turn it over and push it down that way as well. What we're looking for here is something, it's just going to give us that nice pattern in the middle. Okay. They will glue together, but I'm not as worried. I'm going to come in with my big scissors and just cut straight across here. Oops. She says if I can cut straight across. You could try that with a knife if it's easier for you. That just straightens that end off. Now I'm going to stick that on the top there as a decoration. Okay, just putting a blob of glue on there. And there's the next one completed. We have one here, it's much thinner. I have a gold flower here as a decoration piece. So let's give the measurements for these. So all of the pieces are cut to 5 inches again, and they are 1.5 inches, 1 and 3/8 inches. Then this one is 1 and 15/16. So I'm saying, and this one is 9/16 of an inch. That's where I'm saying it really doesn't matter that the sizes don't matter as such, because it's all about how you make it fit together. These are all of our thinner pieces again, so I'm going to come in with the oh no, that's what I wanted to show you. I was going to scoreboard, but before I do, I wanted to show you what you could do. So this is one of those papers that's white on the back, which is absolutely fine, but with this I want to give it just that bit more texture, color, whatever way you want to describe it. So I'm just going to take, I have a script stamp here, so this is Crafter's Companion English Country Garden handwritten script. I just like this because it's a relatively big stamp set. So because the size of it, because it's not going to be seen, I'm not going to take it off the backing paper. I'm just going to use it on here, and I'm going to come in with a orangey color. So this is Morocco by Memento Ink, and I'm just going to ink up a bit of it here. Okay. Then set the piece of paper down, and I'm just trying to line this up to make sure we're getting it nice and neatly, or as neatly as we can, and then I'm just pressing down on it. Like I said, this is not going to be visible, so this is not about it being perfect. It is, however, just about it being that bit more, if anybody does happen to look up inside it, they can see that it has something in there, so it doesn't look like the plain white card. As well as that, then for this one I'm just going to come around and ink the edges both on the inside and the outside. Just trying to make sure, give this a chance to dry before I put my fingers all over it, and then turn it over and do the other side just to see what it looks like. I'll see, to give it that edge. And then as well as that, I'm just going to do the same for all the other pieces of paper. Okay. I don't always ink the edges, but I think it's nice when you do. It helps tie them all together. Okay, that's the ink there. So again, coming in with our scoring board. So that's 5 inches, and we're going to fold it at 2.5. Okay, for each of them. So 2.5 inches, come over, score and fold. 2.5. Turn over, score and fold. Oh, wrong piece though. Two and a half. Turn over, score, or fold and score. Okay, that's all the pieces here, nicely done. Okay, so this is going to be, I think one of the bigger ones will fit on here. I don't really have to say which way I choose for these, whether I use a bigger one or a bigger paper clip or a smaller paper, it just depends on what I have. Sometimes what you can do, I just have this low tack tape. I'm just going to come in and put a piece over the center here to hold the paper clip down. You don't have to do this, but if you can do this instead of putting the glue over it, it just helps keep it in place so you're not worried about it falling everywhere. So that's that held down. I'm now going to glue these 3 together before we move on to anything else. So let me just, I'll start I'm waiting on new fine tip bottles to arrive in the hope that this helps me do it and use them in future, because I really don't like using this bigger bottle. It doesn't really give you an awful lot of control over things, but you gotta go with what you have at the minute. Line that up like that, make sure it's nicely down. Do the same again here. Okay. Line that up in the middle. Press it down. Come in with the bone folder and just make sure it's nicely burnished. And then you can fold it in half and make sure it's nicely burnished here as well. So that's our front piece. That's our front piece here too. So again, just coming in with this. With this one, I'm not so worried about it being a nice thin piece of glue. I do like to put some in the middle, like we said, just to make sure where the paper clip is going to go, just to make sure it's nicely caught up. And then we'll line this up nicely like this, and then fold it over and see if we can get it nicely on the other side. I think that the problem with the lengths is always the fact that by the time you put the paper clip in there, you've added extra bulk. So it never quite lines up. You can see this is sitting up that bit further, and that's just the paper clip. There we go. And then that's that one completed. And if you go like this, you can see the text on the inside. So it doesn't look like it's a blank piece of paper on the inside. And now I'm just going to put a drop of glue on there. Not too much, because again it's just a light embellishment, just to finish it off. And just pressing that down there in the middle, and that's that one finished. We have, again, it's a wider one. This is more pinks. I have a pink flower to decorate it with at the end. This again is one-sided paper, so I'm going to do the same thing I did before and just come in with my stamp. Instead of using the Morocco colour, I am going to use rose pink colour, and it should go nicely with this. Just inking this out. Okay, it's the rosebud, so just put this down and line it up. Give it a light press, lift it up, because it hasn't quite hit the right, hasn't gone the whole way. I'm just going to go up and put those last two lines in there. Again, just all we're looking for here is to give it something on the front that says it has something behind it. I might actually just come in with those bottom two lines again and see if I can stamp them a bit better. I know I'm saying it's not overly important, but it would be nicer if it wasn't quite a ghost look. So there we go. Perfect. And then for this one, I am going to round the edges of each of them. Okay. Oh, I never give you the sizes of this one. So everything has been cut down to 5 3/4 inches. Then this one is 3 1/8 of an inch wide. This one is 2 inches wide. This one is 1 1/2 inches wide, and then this last strip is about 3/4 inches wide. Now everything has been cut down to the same length, but what I'm going to show you on this one is, if you remember with that last one, when we looked here, it didn't always line up neatly. You can do away with that by cutting everything just that bit shorter each time. So if I come in here and just cut down, it's approximately 1 centimetre, 1/2 inch, something like that. And then for the next one, you just want to come in and cut it down approximately the same amount. So if I do that, and then here I'm going approximately there, that cuts that piece out. And then for the last piece, if I come in and cut it down to about there. What we are doing now is that when we line them all up in the middle, they will no longer be sitting right on top of each other, or they won't be lining up, so you won't notice that difference in the gap. So if you see what I mean, we've got a nice staggered edge now for them all. Because that, I can then come in and round up all the edges. So this is just a We Are Memory Keepers corner rounder. here we have our pieces. I'm going to use that same rosebud to ink up the edges. Not the flower. I'm going to do exactly the same thing. Glue these three on top of each other. What I might do first of all is just fold these over so we know roughly where we are lining them up to, because there is that gap. It's not always as straightforward as it could otherwise be. The papers I've been using today are the papers and cards are just from my stash. I couldn't tell you where I got any of them. Some of them have been free with magazines, some have been papers that I bought as packs or whatever. That's the whole point, I feel, about this kind of a technique, is it just really lets you use up your stash. Those tiny pieces of scraps that you don't know what you're going to do with, it just allows you to use them. The other thing I would say is important is if you're doing, I guess one of your papers is directional. For example, these flowers go a certain way or that text goes a certain way. Just make sure you put them the right way up when you stick them onto the card. Otherwise, it's just not going to quite work, or it's not going to look as good as it could. Not saying everybody will necessarily notice, because we don't always, but okay, another paper clip, going for another big one. Put that in the middle. Again, coming in here with my fast grab glue. And then making sure we know which way is up. This one. Just embellishing it, or burnishing it well with the bone folder. Okay, and then I just have this flower that I think looks really nice. I'm just going to, actually I was going to stick it on the side, but now I am wondering, do I put it there and see if I have any leaves to put off the side? I'll just stick this down in the middle there. Okay. See which way is it? Up with the flour? That way. There we go. Let's just run through again what we made here.